Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April Xenia School Board meeting. It's nice to have everyone here. Roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Cox.
Here.
Mr. Day.
Here.
Mr. Ritchie.
Here.
Mr. Scott.
Here.
Mrs. Williams.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. At this time, we need to approve the agenda for this evening's meeting. We don't have a motion.
Motion to approve, and then I'll have a motion to add something in a second. But we'll motion to
Second.
shift.
I checked
Okay.
it earlier.
Second by Mr. Scott.
I'd like to motion that we add an item D to board business. The resolution authorizing paper-based administration of grade 3 Ohio State tests.
Okay. Do we need to?
So that would need a second.
Yeah, I'll second that.
And then, Mr. President, at this time, pursuant to Board Bylaw Policy 0166, item E, I move to add to the agenda at item E as a discussion on Bylaw Policy 0155 on committees for the purpose of a first reading of an amended version of said policy.
Okay. Knowing that this would still have to go to policy, but we could have our first reading tonight.
No.
Yeah. Okay, I'll second that. Oh,
Yeah, no, I think we just want to vote on one motion before we move on to the next one.
We've got a full table right now. So if you're ready for a roll call, we'll do in order adding item D for paper tests. I have a first on the floor from Mr. Day, a second from Mr. Ritchie. Ready for me to do that?
Ready.
All right. Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
And if you're ready for
Mr. Massey?
adding item E, the policy 0155, I believe I have that number correct. I have a first from Mr. Scott, or sorry, from Mr. Cox, and a second from Mr. Ritchie.
Correct.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
And now, if we don't have anything else, you have a first from Mr. Day and a second from Mr. Scott to approve the agenda that now contains items D and E under board business.
Correct.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Did you get all that?
I sure did.
All right. Before I just want to say a couple things and brag on the Xenia schools. You know, in the classroom, which was my territory, and several teachers are here tonight that I see, we had lots of distractions. But as teachers, as a teacher, I had to keep my focus on the end goal, to engage my students with exciting hands-on lessons, to make them curious learners and critical thinkers. Our obstacles on the school board sometimes are many. They should not be dealing with private political stuff or organizations that are anything but pro-public school. But we should be focused on the most important thing, which are our kids and our teachers. So I challenge this board, no matter what, to stay the path and remember what our first priority is, the children and teachers in our district. And I've just been thinking about this. Everything we do, we should ask, how will this benefit our students? And I thought of that because we heard, maybe just this past week, that 2 of our elementary schools were only 2 of the 3 in all of Greene County to receive the Momentum Award. and that would be McKinley and Shawnee. So we're very proud of them. The Momentum Award, in order to qualify for that, you must increase your performance index by 3 or more points for the last year and earn value-added progress rating of 4 or more stars. And again, only 3 schools in Olive Branch County got that. Shawnee, and this is their 3rd time for Shawnee, and this is McKinley's 1st. So I just spoke with Dr. Lofton. We would like to do some kind of a celebration for the 2 schools in the future, but we can tell you more about that. But I do congratulate those 2 schools and the teachers, because it's the heart of the school district are the teachers in the classroom doing the daily grind. So congratulations. All right. The best part is kids of character. Yes. Ready?
So good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Awesome. Okay. So each month we recognize students across our school district that exhibit leadership, scholarship, and good character. So Mrs. Palmer is going to tell you why each one of our students who is here this evening is their school's kid of character for the month of April. Mrs. Palmer.
All right, our first kid of character this evening comes from Xenia Preschool, and it's Everly Lane.
Awesome! I love your energy. Come over here, Emily. This is not off. Take a picture
All right, and here's what our teachers have to say about Everly. Everly is a kind and caring member of our preschool classroom. She is respectful to teachers and classmates and follows classroom expectations. Everly enjoys helping classmates in many ways, including cleaning up toys, opening snacks, and comforting friends when they are sad. She shows kindness through friendly words, cooperative play, and by including others. Everly contributes to a warm and productive classroom environment and is a wonderful role model to all of her peers. Congratulations, Everly.
Congratulations.
If only she were excited.
Oh my God.
Our next kid of character comes from Arrowwood Elementary and is Kaylin Key. Arrowwood Elementary is so proud to announce Kaylin Key is our April Kid of Character. Caleb is in the 2nd grade in Mrs. Craven's class. She writes, Caleb is one spectacular student. He works so hard, pushes through even when it's tough, and has great success. Caleb is a great friend to all. He's a joy to have in class. We are so lucky to be a part of his academic journey. What a kid. More of Caleb's outstanding qualities are his ability to stay calm, to be a good listener, and his awareness of others' feelings. We are so thankful for you, Caleb. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Our next kid of character comes from Cox Elementary and is Deshawn Churchman.
Congratulations, Deshawn.
We are proud to recognize Deshawn for demonstrating exceptional responsibility and the kind of integrity that makes our school a better place. When faced with a difficult moment, he showed the maturity to put the well-being of others above all else. By following his intuition and reaching out to trusted adults, he proved that he is someone who can be counted on in any situation. His actions perfectly exemplify what it means to be a Cox Shining Star and a truly reliable friend. We are honoring him today for his big heart, his good judgment, and his commitment to looking out for those around him. Congratulations to Sean. Our next kid of character comes from McKinley Elementary and is Libby Toptree. Libby serves as a positive role model for her fellow students by showing respect, responsibility, and kindness both in the classroom and out. Libby is an active member of her school community. She's on the Safety Patrol, Sharing is Caring Club, Math Club, and Lego Robotics team. She is hardworking and able to get along with everyone. Libby is a great example of good character here at McKinley. Way to go, Libby. Miss Hyde and Miss Winiger are so proud of you.
Good job.
Our next kid of character comes from Shawnee Elementary and is Sire Rivas.
There we go, buddy.
Sire has been selected as Shawnee's Student of Character for the month of April. He is a wonderful student who consistently demonstrates a positive attitude and a strong willingness to work hard each day in class. Sire cooperates well with his classmates, shows strong problem-solving skills, and serves as an excellent example for his peers. He is a student who can always be trusted to be honest, both in the classroom and in other settings such as recess and lunch. Sire's positive spirit and character help make Shawnee Elementary and his classroom a more enjoyable place to learn each day. Congratulations, Sire, on this well-deserved recognition. The next kid of character comes from Tecumseh Elementary and is Parker Hall. Parker is a perfect example for our character trait of cooperation. Parker always listens to others' ideas and hears out his classmates. He shares his thoughts and opinions in a humble and respectful way that makes others feel comfortable. Parker is open and accepting to all his classmates when working with a partner or in a small group and never leaves anyone behind on an assignment. He always shows respect to his teachers and follows all directions when given. He takes accountability for his choices and is always honest with others. Parker looks at the bigger picture and evaluates how his choices could affect others before acting or speaking. He has continuously improved and shown growth throughout the school year by learning from his mistakes and others around him. Our class is a better place with Parker. Tecumseh is really going to miss him next year. Congratulations. Our next kid of character comes from Warner Middle School, Team Courage, and is Daly Thompson. Team Courage at Warner Middle School is proud to nominate Daly Thompson as 6th grade kid of character for the month of April. Daly has a willingness to learn and is an excellent student. In every class, she gives 110%, strives to do her best on a daily basis, and is an active participant. Daly is always kind and respectful to everyone she comes across. She does a great job persevering through difficult tasks, and she takes all challenges head on. Daly truly loves to learn and works hard to learn new things, even when it might be hard. Daly earned April's Kid of Character because she displays all the characteristics outlined in Xenia's Portrait of a Graduate. She is kind and respectful toward peers and teachers and responsible at turning in classes on time. She thrives with challenging tasks and perseveres with creating strategies to problem solve through those tasks. She is the student leader that her classmates should seek to follow. Daly is an all-around respectful and authentic kid, and because of this, she is an excellent nomination for April's Kid of Character. Congratulations. Our next Kid of Character from Warner Middle School is from Team Endurance and is Bogan Armstrong. Team Endurance teachers have had the pleasure of teaching Bogan Armstrong this year in 6th grade. From the start, Bogan has impressed us with his eagerness to learn new things. He is incredibly curious and loves learning about the world around him. He comes to class each day with a smile on his face and is ready to learn. Bogan always shows the greatest deal of respect to the classroom and guest teachers, setting the example for others. He exhibits responsibility by always completing his work and is always supportive of his peers. Bogan is a compassionate and dependable friend, known for his loyalty and kindness. His caring nature, patience, and personality allow him to work well with anyone in the classroom, and he always respects the opinions and abilities of others. We are certain that Bogan is destined to do great things. His tireless work ethic, passion for learning, sense of responsibility, and dependability will certainly make him successful in life. We are all very proud of him and want to congratulate Bogan on being selected as Warner Middle School's Kid of Character for the month of April. And our third Kid of Character from Warner Middle School comes from Team Ambition and is Ella Parson. It is with great pleasure that the 6th grade Team Ambition teachers recommend Ella Parsons as the April 2026 Kid of Character. Ella is an amazing young lady and proves on a daily basis that she deserves this honor. Since transitioning to Warner, Ella has shown tremendous ability to acclimate to her classes and new environment. Ella was chosen to represent our team because she exemplifies Warner's pillars of success. She has a wonderful work ethic. She always does her best in class by consistently producing exemplary work, turning assignments in on time, and participating in class discussions. She's kind and respectful to everyone, both peers and teachers alike. Ella is always willing to help other students who might be struggling. She's a leader in groups, she listens to others' ideas, and supports others when they are confused or make mistakes. Ella not only takes responsibility for her actions and her academics, and works hard to make sure that she's living up to her potential, but she comes to school excited to learn. She makes sure to let her teachers know that she appreciates the time they put into creating engaging lessons. Ella is a hardworking student and a pleasure in the classroom. She is prepared to learn each day and perseveres through every challenge presented to her. Ella is the kind of kid that does the right thing without the expectation of getting any recognition. Her kindness, helpfulness, endless positivity, and work ethic make her a great nomination for Warner's Kid of Character. We are all very proud of Ella as she deserves this honor. And our last Kid of Character for the evening comes from Xenia High School and is Anna Hobson.
Yay, Anna!
Okay, Anna consistently demonstrates the qualities of a true leader. She leads by example in the classroom, showing respect for teachers and peers while maintaining a positive and focused attitude towards her work. Anna is always willing to help others, whether assisting her peers with assignments, encouraging teamwork, during group projects, or offering support to new students. Anna contributes so much to the school environment by modeling integrity, kindness, and perseverance. She is the definition of what it means to be a great Buccaneer. Congratulations, Anna.
So if I can have all the kids in character follow Dr. Lawson, we're going to go over here and take a group picture. Parents, you're more than welcome to take pictures as well. You guys come over, follow me. You guys are going to follow Dr. Lawson. We're going to go shake each board member's hand. Here. Over here. You guys are going to do exactly what I do. Congratulations. Congratulations. Good job. Congratulations. Good job. Keep it up.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.
I have went ahead and thank you, Mr. Day and Mr. Cox. The items you wish to add to the board agenda have been published on board docs, so anyone who would want to see those. Those are there as items D and E, so thank you. That makes it very easy once y'all approve it. Will you?
You're welcome.
Put it out there, so thank you.
All right, at this time, we will go to citizens address to the board. Please remember, limit your remarks to 5 minutes, and there will be a timer up here for you to reference. So, Mr. Massey, I see we have some.
We do. Amber Jenkins, please.
Hi. Do I go?
Yeah, right.
Hi, my name is, good evening. My name is Amber Jenkins. I live at 2159 Capistrano Drive here in Xenia, and I would like to discuss funding for our high school cheerleaders. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. I am here to advocate to increase funding and support for our high school cheer squad, a program that consistently represents our school with excellence, pride, and dedication. Over the past 2 years, our cheer team has proven itself as one of the most successful programs in our district. They are back-to-back NBL champions, state champions, and have competed at the national level, which was team Xenia history, actually. They were the first squad to ever attend, where the traditional squad won 9th place and the game day squad won 12th, I'm sorry. These are not small accomplishments. These are a result of discipline, hard work, and a commitment to represent our school at the highest level. Despite these achievements, the cheer program operates with minimal financial support. In fact, much of the burden falls directly on the coaches and the parents who are paying out of pocket for competition, entry fees, and other essential program expenses. This is not sustainable, nor is it fair to the individuals of us who are already giving so much of our time and energy to support our students. Additionally, as taxpayers, many of us in this community contribute to funding school programs. However, our cheer athletes, who work just as hard and bring just as much recognition to our school and our district, do not receive the same level of financial support as other athletic programs. This disparity is discouraging and sends the wrong message about the value of their efforts. Another pressing need is new uniforms. Our current uniforms are outdated and worn, and they do not reflect the caliber of the team wearing them. When our athletes step onto the mat at competitions, especially at state and national levels, they deserve to look as strong and unified as they perform. This is about more than just uniforms or competition fees. It's about equity, recognition, and supporting a program that consistently brings pride and visibility to our school and community. By investing in the cheer program, you are investing in student athletes who demonstrate leadership, teamwork, and school spirit. You are supporting a program that continues to raise the bar and represent the district with excellence. We are not asking for special treatment, only fair support. Thank you for your time, your consideration, and your commitment to all of our students.
Thank you. Anna Russell.
Hi, my name is Anna Russell. I live at 1005 McPherson Road, Xenia, Ohio. I am here today as a volunteer for the Citizens for Continued Excellence. We are a volunteer group of community members who are encouraging our community to support issue number 1 on May 5th, which is the renewal levy for permanent improvement projects for Xenia Community Schools. This is not a new tax. It costs about $13 per $100 value. To date, we've sent out about 780 mailers to select community members. I guess I'll talk louder. Okay. We have placed about 85 or 90 signs around the community. We have plans to do a second mailer in another week and a half, 2 weeks. I just want to encourage you to spread the word that our district relies on these funds for building and property, large property maintenance, safety and security upgrades, infrastructure upgrades, and more. We owe it to our future generation of students and staff and community to keep our buildings in the best shape possible. If you would like to place a yard sign, please let me know and I will get you one. Thank you.
Melanie Duckworth Neasley.
Good evening, my name is Melanie Duckworth Nisley, 1605 Richland Road in Spring Valley. I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. I wanted to begin by acknowledging the work of the Policy Committee in updating the district's AI policies. It's clear from reviewing these updates that there has been thoughtful consideration around responsible use, academic integrity, data privacy, and the role of AI as a tool to support, not replace learning. There is a consistent theme with our policy that AI should remain human-centered and that it should support instruction rather than replace it, and that students should develop their own knowledge and skills. This is exactly the right foundation But what I would like to offer tonight are a few considerations that build on that foundation, specifically focused on implementation, consistency, and cognitive development. One area to consider is teacher training for continuity. The updated policy appropriately gives educators discretion on how AI is used in the classroom, but without structured, shared learning and training, that discretion can lead to very different expectations between classrooms, grade levels, and buildings. Providing consistent professional development around when AI enhances learning, how to design assignments that require independent thinking first, and how to evaluate AI-supported work would help ensure that students experience a cohesive approach rather than a fragmented one. Second, I would encourage consideration of an annual policy review cycle. Your policy already acknowledges how quickly AI is evolving. Building a formal reoccurring opportunity to review how AI is being used and whether it is improving learning outcomes would allow the district to stay proactive instead of reactive. Third, I would recommend strengthening student-facing AI ethics and literacy training. The policy speaks to responsible use, but it has an opportunity to go one step further. Students should not only learn how to use AI, but how to question it. And they should understand that AI can be biased, inaccurate, and it should not be treated as an authority. Teaching students to evaluate AI output, information, and recognize the limitations is not just a technology skill, but it's a modern form of critical thinking. And that leads to a broader point about cognitive development. There's growing research around cognitive offloading, which is the tendency to shift mental effort to external tools rather than engaging deeply in the thinking process. In adolescents especially, whose brains are still developing executive function reasoning and problem-solving skills, over-reliance on tools that generate answers can reduce opportunities to build those skills. It does not mean that we should avoid AI. It means that we should structure its use carefully so that students are still engaging in the productive struggle that builds learning. AI should follow thinking, not replace it. This brings me to a second topic I'd like to briefly address, the proposed resolution to move third grade state testing to paper and pencil format. I do want to express support for this resolution. It recognizes that students in third grade benefit from developmentally appropriate assessment environments that reduce screen fatigue, support sustained attention, and align with foundational learning practices like handwriting and step-by-step problem solving. That alignment is important because at the elementary level, learning is deeply connected to how information is physically processed. A study published in Frontiers in Psychology found that handwriting activates broader neural networks involved in learning and memory compared to typing, which supports deeper cognitive processing in young learners. In simple terms, writing by hand helps the brain learn differently and often more effectively than typing. So when we consider assessment methods, especially in early grades, there is a real value in aligning testing formats with how students are learning in the classroom. Paper-based testing can support focus and reduce digital fatigue, reinforce handwriting skills, and also create more equitable conditions for students with varying levels of technology experience. I also appreciate that the resolution still allows flexibility for families who prefer computer-based testing. Taken together, both the AI policy updates and this testing resolution reflect a broader theme. We're trying to find the right balance between innovation and development. So my request tonight is this. If you continue to refine these policies, I would encourage you to consider adding structured teacher training to ensure continuity, establish an annual AI policy review cycle, extending student training around AI ethics and critical evaluation, and continuing to prioritize developmentally appropriate learning practices, especially in our early grades. The goal isn't just to prepare students for technology, it's to ensure technology doesn't replace the thinking that makes them capable. Thank you very much for your time and your thoughtful leadership.
Thank you.
Mary Greck.
Good evening. Mary Greck, 1699 Washington Mill, Ohio. My first point or topic is I want to plug the Hall of Honor, which is coming right up. The Xenia Community Schools Foundation will induct 4 Xenia graduates into the Foundation's Hall of Honor class of 2026. The 28th Annual Hall of Honor Dinner and Induction Ceremony is scheduled for Saturday, April 25th, 2026, 6:30 p.m. at Warner Middle School. The dinner will be preceded by the 12th annual silent auction for grants, beginning at 5:30 p.m. The tickets are $45 each and are available at the Xenia Chamber of Commerce through April 17th. The foundation invites all of the community to celebrate the accomplishments of the 2026 Hall of Honor inductees. So I would hope to see everybody there. It's really a very nice night. My second topic is, I'm going to start with a quote that I got from at Parents Club, and as a 35-year-old T, I wish I had seen this years ago because I would be sharing it all over the place. iPads and iPads, cell phones, are cigarettes for kids. Think about that. Handwriting is a biological advantage that your child needs to harness. It starts developmentally as an infant rolling, and then the toddler grasping for toys and chalk and crayons. It moves to the young child. The more your child scribbles with crayons and writes with paper and pencil, the stronger their eye-hand coordination, the stronger their memory and their comprehension. Research has identified that handwriting, not typing or tapping, creates multi-sensory integration. That is a wonderful, unique blend of sight, touch, and sound that actually strengthens memory and comprehension, a must for reading. When a child learns to spell using paper and pencil, they are building executive function skills, self-regulation, and problem-solving skills for learning that impacts all subjects, something no computer can match. Screens, in contrast, encourage skimming, shallow processing, and passive copying. Handwriting, especially paper and pencil, not pen or marker, is all about friction. The friction strengthens hand-arm muscles, and even more importantly, it forces the brain to summarize, to synthesize, and to really absorb information, creating lasting memory, also known as motor memory. Other research has found that children introduced to screens younger than 12 are much more likely to have less focus and attention. One reason is that the constant, dopamine hits that screens have by design built into them cannot be matched or even met in the classroom or by another person. The resolution to be discussed today is really important, but I fear it will be tough to implement, and here's why. Let me say, I am all for paper and pencil testing. We need to start somewhere, but consider the current third graders have had years of screen and computer exposure. How much handwriting, paper, and pencil exposure taking tests have they had? Do they have the motor skills and focus to complete these paper pencil tests? If we implement this now, what are we really testing? The academic skills or their stamina for paper and pencil tests? Perhaps we need to start not with high-stakes tests, but with multiple other tests throughout the year. In any case, this board's directive is to recommend and then provide the necessary tools for implementation. It is the responsibility of the staff of Xenia Community Schools, especially the curriculum department and teachers, to determine how and when to do this implementation. In summary, there's plenty of recent research that I can provide for anyone that would message me to show that computers and screens below the age of 12 are a detriment, not a help, to early learning skills. Research even shows that children exposed after 12 years of age have no problem accessing technology successfully. It does not hold them back, just the opposite. The brain maturation of the hippocampus in particular is greater for better focus, better attention, better memory, and better comprehension. Let's make handwriting a primary focus pre-K to third grade. Let's make all regular testing paper and pencil before we have students take the high-stakes testing. I do want them to take the high-stakes testing paper and pencil, but let's make sure they're ready. That way we know what we are really testing for. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer Marietta.
Good evening. Jennifer Marietta, 329 North Galloway Street, Xenia, Ohio. I apologize in advance. I'm a little more disorganized than normal this evening. I do want to start by talking about policy committee. So we had our first policy committee meeting on March 25th, and it went great. It was attended by the superintendent, the treasurer, representative from Neola who went over policies with us and recommended updates, as well as myself and 5 or 6 other community members. It was awesome. We had really great discussions about the policies. made selections for things that needed to be updated, things like the AI policy that was mentioned, as well as things like drug testing for bus drivers, just lots of good stuff. There are 2 board members that are assigned to that committee, and one of them attended and one of them did not. And I learned after the fact that that board member chose not to attend because I am on the committee. That board member indicated that we had incompatible ideas about public education. I can't imagine why that would be, because my priority is public education. It is in serving the students and the families of this community. The board member also indicated that that the committee should include members that reflect the priorities expressed by the voters of Xenia. I found that interesting as well, because the idea that if someone is not elected to the board, or that they do not agree in everything with members of the board, that their opinion doesn't count, or their desire to advocate for members of the community doesn't matter, is absurd. Board members should be willing to, and delighted, honestly, to engage with members of the community and hear their thoughts and ideas. This isn't an echo chamber. And then this evening, we get here, and the board member has expressed that they want to add a policy that has not been through policy committee and has not been drafted with other board members as far as I'm aware, to change how committees are selected as of this evening. I know it's a first reading, however, it hasn't been through policy committee. This board had a conversation about this back in February, and this board discussed how a policy should be drafted and brought to policy committee for a first review. That hasn't happened. So I do think it is inappropriate for a board member to bring a policy recommending changes to how committees are formed this evening when it hasn't even been drafted and submitted for review. In addition to that, I had an opportunity briefly, because it was now uploaded, to review the policy that's proposed. And that policy proposes that all current committee members be dissolved at the end of December. So no longer allowed to be on the committee end of December. And that board members after that should serve 2-year terms, and they have to be committee members, and they have to be approved by the sitting board. If the board wants to make selections about which committee members can serve, that's fine, but it should be an unbiased selection. It should be from diverse viewpoints, from people in this community that care. The other thing I want to point out is that if you want to reflect priorities expressed by the voters of Xenia, that includes me. I am a voter. I live in this community. I have a right to speak and share my opinion about the direction of this school. You don't have to listen to it. I have no power. You hold all of the cards. These committees have no power. We can make recommendations and hope to be heard, but at the end of the day, you make the decisions. So board members should not be fearful or unwilling to engage with community members. It's part of the job. And so I would hope that in the future that committee members can be brave, board members can be brave to respect diverse opinions of different committee members and show up and do the work. That's the job. Thank you and have a good evening.
That's all, Mr. Ritchie.
Pardon?
That is all, Mr. Ritchie.
Okay, thank you. Yes,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you everyone for your comments tonight. Okay, we'll move on to number 4, the superintendent's consent agenda. And does anyone need any of them removed for individual discussion?
No.
A through O, Mr. Scott, Mr. Day, Mrs. Williams. Mr. Day, no?
Nothing needs removed. I have a question, but once we
Okay.
motion for it, I'll ask.
Nothing removed, okay. I'll make a motion to approve the superintendent's consent agenda. Do I have a second?
I'll second. Oh.
Okay, Mrs. Williams, second. With discussion?
I just had one question. Dr. Lofton, the payments, is that part of the group of things that were put forward before? They're more detailed quotes now?
No,
Or they're different?
they are separate capital projects that we hope to complete this summer and into the fall. They are separate.
That's what I thought. I just wasn't sure if any of them aligned with the other stuff.
Well, the first one is related to the K-5 building. So in addition to waterproofing the the exteriors of the K-5 buildings. Our intentions are to do some additional work in our K-5 buildings as far as, painting, flooring, just routine maintenance for the K-5 buildings. So we'll have a lot of work this summer that we're doing in the K-5 buildings in terms of capital projects and routine maintenance. And then the second one is the farm equipment purchase. So again, we are investing in our high school, and our intentions are to upgrade our band room at the high school. So again, we have a beautiful band room at Warner Middle School because it's a brand new building. We want to make sure that our high school also has a beautiful band room that has proper storage for band equipment. So our intentions are to do a renovation to Mr. Lewis's band area this summer. And the last project is a controls issue. We want to update our HVAC system and our controls at Central Middle School or Central Preschool.
Okay.
And the only other comment I was going to make is there's another great scholarship opportunity on there. Thank you to Dr. Dillgreen for offering another scholarship.
Yeah, that's great. Anybody else? Comments? No? Okay, roll call, please.
All right, so I have the superintendent's consent agenda as presented. A first from Mr. Ritchie, a second from Mrs. Williams, correct?
Correct.
All right, Mr. Cox.
Yes.
Mr. Day.
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie.
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, motion passes, or the agenda passes. Okay, next, number 5, Treasurer's Financial Report for the month ending March 31st, 2026. Mr. Massey?
You want to get a first and second, and I'll go through it?
Sure.
I'll motion to approve the treasurer's financial report.
A second?
Yep, let's jump in. All right, so for the month of March, we are 75% of the way through the fiscal year. So we've got about 81% almost of revenue that has come in. We've spent about 70% to budget. And as you can see there, if you compare the investment balances at month end from the end of February to the end of March, you'll see a bump. That's because property tax dollars came in for the first half collection for this year. So that's why you've got that increase there. Again, we get those larger paydays because it comes in 2 seasons per year, whereas other payments, the school district income tax arrive quarterly, and the state's portion of educating students comes in twice a month. Think about it like a paycheck. On the revenue side, you can see for general property taxes and public utility property tax, we're almost at the 100% of what we were hoping that we would receive as we compare this to the general fund. Again, if you look on the front page, that gives you a quick glance to major items of revenue and expenditure compared to our latest financial forecast, and then we dive in more deeply in the other pages. We can also compare the graph to see how well we are filling up the bars in terms of our different revenue streams, if you will, comparison graph. So we flip the coin over to the expenditure side of the equation. We're at 75% of the way through the fiscal year, as I mentioned. And again, the difference here between this and the front page is the front page is the check has been written, whereas here this also includes the money's been reserved. So it's encumbered, that's our accounting term of the day, for, think about it like a envelope system, if you will. The money's been reserved, it's been set aside for the payment of electrical bills or copy paper or something like that. So that's why there's a difference in those 2 percentages there. Again, our same graph, and we can see what our major lines are. And again, these come right off the financial forecast, salaries, benefit services. These are the headings and the chunks, if you will, or buckets that forecast is presented in. And then we zoom out to look at the entire funds. You'll notice that in some of our grant funds towards the bottom, the 500 funds, we're near 100%. Some of the grants are more for services and supplies that district will need throughout the year, whereas others are tied more to teaching. So you've got like special education, Title I that serves students. The reason that those numbers are lower is the teacher's first paycheck of the year is in September, The last one for this school year will be the second one in August. So that's why those numbers are a little bit lower, because they don't quite follow the fiscal year. Can I answer any questions for anyone for the March financial report?
And just, I see it in, I think I see it in here, but the 3 million transfer took effect.
We are still waiting on permission from the state to make that happen. You can see that it is on the revenue page for the general fund, so that is page number 4. It's the next to the last bottom called transfers in. The receivable sitting at 3 million and the revenue's at 0 because they haven't given me the green light yet. But when they give me the green light, we will execute it. Or if they have any questions, hopefully if they have any concerns, questions, etc., those will come quickly, so we have time to wrap it up before June 30th. But we sent that into them, I believe it was the very next day. So I'm trying to move pretty quickly. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I was wondering under revenue, when I looked at this, state reimbursement for property tax rollback and homestead and other unrestricted state aid.
Yep.
That will come in eventually?
Yep, so what happens is the non-business credit, owner occupancy credit, and there's another rollback. Those come in a little bit later. Sometimes it's April, sometimes it's May, sometimes it can be a little bit later where the state picks up that portion of it. And then, what was your other question?
Well, there were just 3 of them there.
Oh, okay, sure. Gotcha, yep.
They're all
Homestead,
state.
that was it, yep.
Yeah.
We're still waiting on those to come from the state of Ohio, and those usually lag a little bit behind the county collections.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Questions for Mr. Massey? No? Okay.
All right. So I'll be ready for a roll call.
Yes.
To accept the March 2026 financial report, I have a first from Mr. Day, a second from Mr. Ritchie. Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr.
Oh
Williams?
my goodness, yes.
Thank you.
Right. All right. Okay, we are going to move on to number 6 on the agenda, board business. So we will begin with letter A, the resolution authorizing directing the transfer of equipment to Legacy. And I'll let Mr. Massey talk about that.
I would be glad to. So the state has decided quite a while ago that they would send dollars to schools that qualify as auxiliary, and they can either get those dollars directly from Columbus, from the state, or they can get them through whatever school district's boundaries they were sitting in. So for many years, Legacy was Senior Christian before, they got their dollars from us. This current school year, they started getting them directly from the state of Ohio. So this is the final, if you will, putting the bow on it as they are kind of growing up, moving out on their own, doing that directly on their own. And all of the items that they purchased through us with their auxiliary dollars, we're just transferring the responsibility of ownership, maintaining those items, inventorying when they are reaching their end of life and be recycled, they're worn out, they don't have useful value. It'd be up to them to communicate that with the state and keep track of that versus us, where we would have been in that position before when they were buying it through us, because again, their state dollars simply flowed through us. We were the financial mechanism of the great state of Ohio.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I motion to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Mrs. Williams, second?
So the resolution any other questions? I'm sorry.
Yeah, any other questions for Mr. Massey?
All right, so the resolution to authorize that transfer of Legacy's auxiliary purchased equipment to Legacy Christian Academy. I have a first from Mr. Day, a second from Mrs. Williams. Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, letter B on the board business. First reading of the winter 2026 update for the Board of Education policies. And I will ask Mr. Day to kind of give us a highlight and maybe to explain how that process works.
Yeah,
Thank
so first readings, just a discussion, present of the policies that we reviewed. So every, twice a year, we do meet with the Neola representative and go through a series of policies. They usually have a list, and it's like a rotating list that they go through whenever, that they just kind of do going through them. And then also out of that list are if there's any like law changes or things that come down from Columbus to add or update policies. And so we, in the policy committee, review those. Sometimes they'll have options on different language or different things you can add or take out of the policy. For example, the one on AI this time had many different sections that you could edit, choose from based on what your school was comfortable with taking on in terms of that policy. So you go through them, the policy committee reviews those, makes some selections, and then they come to the board for a review. So this first reading is an opportunity for the board to review them, and if you had suggestions on anything or whatever, we could take it back to the policy committee or make those changes before the second reading. And so a couple to call out on here. One, the policy 5112, the entrance requirements. So that one is an example of the state changed the law. So now a child entering kindergarten must be 5 by the first day of instruction of the school year. So that one was updated. And then a couple others. One that was mentioned, the drug testing for bus drivers and CDL. So there was options on this one. And if you go in and you, as board members, you can look and see what things were lined out or selected, the green and red. But what was selected for this one was that during the random drug testing or alcohol testing for bus drivers, they have to have a 000 reading to be able to drive that day, which I think was a good decision. And then, yeah, the other big one was, like I said, the artificial intelligence one. So I would encourage all the board members to go take a look through that one. It's pretty exhaustive to go through it right now, but take a look at it and review it because there's a lot in that one. That's about it.
I did notice number 5430, class rank, is changing quite a bit because beginning with next year's graduating class, we're going back to valedictorian, salutatorian, and getting rid of graduate of distinction. I remember as a teacher years ago asking higher ups, why are we going to graduate of distinction? And they said, oh, everyone's doing it. And I looked around, I'm like, I don't see anyone doing that. So anyway, I'm glad we're going back to valedictorian, salutatorian. So that's number 5430. And then we'll have a second reading next month?
Yeah, typically
Okay.
the following month.
Okay. Well, thank you. Mr. Loughlin, or Dr. Loughlin, did you want to say anything about any of the changes, or you're good? Okay.
I think also I said the policy committee was a good meeting. There's a lot of discussion as we went through each of them. I think we were there, 2.5 hours? Yeah, we went through each of these, so.
Good. Thank you for your detail on that. And I have asked, for the 2 board members on policy, I have asked Mrs. Williams to serve on that with you, Mr. Dave. And she said yes. So we have the 2 board members represented. Okay. Letter C, discussion on the, we don't have to approve.
We're not approving this tonight.
Letter B,
Just discussing.
okay. Letter C, a discussion on the agreement with the SROs. And, I know, Mr. Massey, would you like to comment on that, or?
I would prefer that as an operations thing to Dr. Law.
Okay.
Yeah, just a little bit of context, Mr. Ritchie. So currently we have 4 school resource officers in our school district. We have 1 full-time school resource officer at the high school and 1 full-time school resource officer at the middle school. And then we have 2 school resource officers that split their time between our elementaries and our preschool. We have an agreement with the city. It's worked out well. We're really blessed to really have 4, very good school resource officers. So routinely, this contract comes up for renewal, and we have to negotiate with the city in terms of cost sharing. And what you have before you is that agreement as well as the cost sharing breakdown. And the contract is not up until August, but we wanted to put this in front of you to have some conversation. So as we negotiate with the city, we have some direction from the board in terms of what their wishes are. So what you have before you is the actual contract, and you also have the projected cost for SRO services as well. So we just want to put that before you to have some conversation about how we need to move forward when we're engaging with the city around renewing the contract for those 4 school resource officers that our schools love, we love, and they do a phenomenal job, and we partner with them in a great way. So,
Mr. President, if I may.
Sure.
Absolutely. So let me start with saying SROs are awesome, and I know our SRO back there is out there with my daughter at Cox Elementary, protecting the kids all the time. The kids absolutely love our SROs, so SROs are a priority of mine. I know this is something that came in under your first term, right, last term?
We've had them longer than that.
We had longer.
But we got more.
We got more, okay, yeah. So this is obviously something we're expanding. However, I have to take a look at some notes here. If you, board members, please, if you allow me, the previous contract said that we paid 60% of our SROs. The city has decided to raise our portion to 65%. Now with automatic raises already to adjust for inflation, they're inputting more cost upon us. And I don't know if right now in this particular contract is what we should move forward with. We have several meetings before now and then, and we can have several discussions with the city that is not going to allow them to simply throw another 5% on top of us, right, including additional costs. If you look at a lot of these things, we're looking at SROs moving into $163,000 a year, right, per SRO, making our portion $106,000 a year before the city gets involved. To show, so people out there can't see, and if you don't have your laptop open, you're looking at $425,000 a year for 4 employees on our end, while the city, who employs, right? They're city officers, $228,000 a year, right? The last I heard that the SRO contract was not changing, and now I'm walking into this boardroom and I'm seeing that they're trying to hit us with another 5%. So I'm not sure I feel comfortable with that at this time, especially since we have months ahead of us to negotiate with the city and get it back to where it was. I am a fan and proponent of this program as it currently stands, but for the city to throw another 5% on us, I don't see it. So I'll leave it to you.
I know one thing we talked about not changing were the number of SROs.
Right.
And one reason to those in attendance that number is so big is because not only are we paying 65% of total cost, but we're also covering all of their health insurance and all of their benefit package, which is why that number is so big.
Right, that's total. For everybody, that's total. That's not hourly or whatnot. That's also overtime. That's car usage. It's a lot of billing.
And Dr. Lofton, have you had a meeting with the city about this, or that you just got a letter from?
No, I interface with the chief quite regularly, but when he emailed us this new contract. I have not had an opportunity to talk to Chief Stutes. I will,
Okay.
and he's aware that we're having this conversation tonight as well. So again, you all.
Yeah. As we face budgetary issues moving into future years, right, especially facing the potential abolishment of property taxes, I find it highly irregular and unnecessary for them to change this contract and throw in at a 5%, which is not what I was. I don't know if any of you were informed, but I was not. You were informed?
Well, I knew they were
They were pushing up.
wanting to push up.
Yeah.
At one point, I'd heard that maybe we would cover 100% of the cost.
Yeah, and that was, you see, the thing
At
is,
one point.
I called the sheriff, right, and Sheriff Engel was very fantastic, and he's willing, we can get deputies for the same cost as it currently was in this current contract. So if the city wants to increase our angle, then I say we continue to negotiate for city cops until August. But if they are hard strong on pushing more cost on a school district that is facing budgetary problems in the next 2 to 3 years, I do not see it, right?
I hold off on two things. One, I would not say we're facing budgetary problems in the next 2 years. I would say that our budget, it won't be so big in the next 2 or 3 years. There's no reason to say we're going to be facing problems though. Like we're totally in the black now. We have ways to stay in the black. Like we're not facing problems. So I would be careful about saying.
Okay, we're not in a crisis is what I
There's
guess.
no budgetary problems.
Sure, but we have a cheerleaders program who's looking for more money, and they're doing great things. We also have a female wrestling program where some of those coaches are out of pocket a lot. And there's a consistent alarming theme I'm seeing with female sports, maybe being a little bit underfunded. I don't know if there's a reason for that. But I'm just saying there's a lot of our programs out there who want and need more dollars. And when the city has the capability to pay that extra 5%, and they are trying to get us with it now, with August being how many months away? 4 or 5 months, I say, as any good negotiator does, send it back and ask for the contract we currently have. No changes, keep up the regular raises to adjust for inflation for our fantastic SROs. I don't understand why we have to deviate from that. I know. I'll say that.
I think, that's, yeah, we asked Dr. Lofton. He said that he's going to go talk to Chief Stutes and get some more information, and we can go back to the city. But I also would caution and say it's unfair to immediately start throwing in, well, we'll go to the sheriff and the county. They don't have SROs to give us in the first place. Sheriff Anger may want to and say, that he could, but you have to have those officers and the training and all those people available. And I talked to him 4 years ago. He doesn't have it. It's hard enough for the city to get SROs available for all the schools. So
I understand. I'm not saying let's go straight to them.
That's not a negotiating.
I'm just saying it's not. I don't want to get rid of the SRO program. And if the city is motivated to increase our costs, then that's something we don't have to do. We don't. In fact, I spoke with the Bellbrook mayor, and the city pays 50% of their SROs. 50%. We already are giving the city of Xenia a fantastic deal with an extra 10% compared to a neighboring city. So, and now we're going to pay.
Arguing.
I know, I'm passionate.
Nobody's arguing.
I'm
I can
passionate.
guarantee we're not getting rid of the SRO.
Right, we're not trying to get rid of the SROs,
Yes.
but we're trying to get a fair deal with the city, especially when a neighboring city is paying already 10% less, or 10% more than we are.
Okay, Dr. Lofton, if you would, for the next meeting, maybe look at 3 or 4 districts around us to see what they pay for their SROs and report that back to us, and go back to the city and, I don't know, just ask if they would accept 60%, which is what we're willing to pay, what we're paying now.
Out of dollars amount, just for if anyone's curious, it's about $30,000.
More.
About 5%.
Okay.
About $30,000.
Is that a year? Which could go to a fantastic cheerleading program. There you go, she wanted to clap. See, you can clap.
Okay, any other discussion on SRO's budget? Dr. Lawson, thank you. Okay, we're going to move on. We'll discuss this again in May after we look at Dr. Lawson, see what he finds out. Okay, Mr. Day, letter D, paper-based.
Oh, I will motion to approve this resolution authorizing paper-based administration of the grade 3 Ohio State test.
Do you have a second? I'll second that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, for discussion.
Okay, with Mrs. Gregg's concerns, is that, would that be, how much of a hindrance would that be for students, do you feel?
Real quick, I think the approval is just to go to discussion. Yeah, right, isn't that right?
Well, yeah, now we're going to discuss it.
Yeah,
I have some comments too, as I'm sure Mr. Day does. Yeah, you're good.
Whoever you want to start.
Why don't we just start with Mrs. Williams and we'll go around?
Yeah.
Okay, because that is, you know, I mean, I know that we talk about how some kids are not as adept at computers, and I realize that. But then the issue that she raised of, are they familiar enough? Have they taken tests? Have they? And I'm all about paper and pen, paper and pencil, not pen. But what type of an issue would that be, and how long would it take to get them to that point?
To quote Mrs. Gregg, feels it will be tough to implement, quote.
Those are all great questions, Mrs. Williams. So I'm going to invite Mrs. Palmer up, who's our Director of Curriculum, and kind of give us a brief pros and cons related to it. I mean, everyone has very good arguments for both. So maybe Mrs. Palmer can just share some light on pros and cons for doing it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Lofton. I will tell you, I'm going to give you some pros and cons for both sides for you guys to think about. We have not done any research as of recent. We have not polled the teachers or the principals. So there's no research or any surveys that have been given in the district as of recent. So I don't know the feelings of the teachers or the principals. This was a topic that came up about, I'd say 6 or 7 years ago when I was not the Director of Curriculum, that they had with that Director of Curriculum. And I can tell you at that time, the principals did decide to, as they say, rip the Band-Aid off and go ahead and go with computer-based testing. I will also tell you, the only grade level that you can do this with is 3rd grade. So this isn't anything, the state of Ohio will not allow you to do a resolution for any other grade level. So it's kind of the bridge year between not testing or testing just in the buildings K1, 2, and then 3rd grade your bridge year that you start testing. So give you the pros and the cons. So here's for paper pencil testing, okay? So here's some pros. So it is developmentally familiar. Your 3rd graders do spend most of their day learning with paper. And the tactile experience of holding a pencil and physically turning pages does match their everyday routine. Okay. Another pro would be easier annotation. It is much easier for an 8 and 9-year-old to physically underline keywords and reading passages. So our text that we use is into reading, and they do annotate in their books. That is how they learn on a daily basis. So it's easier for them to cross out wrong answers or use their fingers to track the text. Another pro for paper pencil testing would be that paper tests are immune to Wi-Fi outages or dead batteries or server crashes or login issues, okay, which does create some anxiety for students that are ready to test that day. Some cons for paper pencil testing would be the results do come in much slower. Okay, so we're back to physical booklets, which require shipping, and a manual scanning, meaning teachers and parents wait much longer to receive the actionable data on the student performance. There is also another con that would be a handwriting barrier for students, and I can see there's both sides to this, because I believe earlier this was given as a pro, so you could go either way with this one. Students who struggle with fine motor skills or handwriting legibility, to write out their extended responses by hand can be exhausting and may not accurately reflect their actual knowledge. There's also a logistical burden to paper and pencil testing. So paper testing requires a rigorous security chain of custody. So district and building test coordinators, we have to count, shrink wrap, lock up, distribute, and collect physical booklets daily. Then the coordinators have to manually bubble in demographic data for some students, package the materials, ship them. So a single misplaced booklet can trigger a state-level security investigation. The increased margin for human error. So students could skip a line when bubbling in their Scantron, so that's part of if they've not practiced that. And so it's just wrong. The state doesn't come back and say, hey, you missed a line. So those are some of the pros and cons to paper pencil testing. Some pros and cons to the computer testing to think about. So pros to computer testing is built-in accessibility. So the digital platforms do offer immediate customizable tools for students who need accommodation, such as text-to-speech. They do have color contrast adjustments, and you can magnify the screen. It's a much faster turnaround, so they're scored almost instantaneously, and we have the results back. And then future readiness, so just transitioning to digital testing early helps build basic computer literacy and typing skills students will inevitably need for future assessments. And that's why I wanted you to know, you're just giving them another year to mature if you do decide to do paper pencil, because in 4th grade that wouldn't be an option. Some cons, though, of computer testing is, and I believe Ms. Gregg spoke to this, the test could inadvertently measure 3rd grade typing speed, mouse clicking accuracy, scrolling ability, instead of what they're actually trying to measure. Screen fatigue. Staring at the screen for extended testing blocks can lead to eye strain, headaches, and shorter attention span in young children. And then a lot of young students do struggle with the digital split screen, so there's a reading passage on one side and the questions are on the other. And they do struggle with toggling between the two. So there's lots of pros and cons to both sides.
Ms. Palmer, if I may, what would be your inclination and when you would lean? What would be a recommendation on your behalf as an educator, as a curriculum director?
I would feel much better if I had a chance to poll the principals and the teachers, because I'm not in the classroom every day. So I feel very uncomfortable giving a recommendation without speaking to the administrators, without speaking to the teachers. They're the ones that are the boots on the ground that would have a much better feel for what they would want.
Absolutely. Do you feel...
And they're going to choose how they feel the kids are going to do the best, because this is on the grade card. This is the 3rd grade reading guarantee. So you can guarantee they're not going to choose for their own benefit. They're going to choose what they feel like the students is going to do the best.
Yeah, and do you feel, because of it moving back into the computer testing in 4th grade, that this would become a hindrance? That it would maybe make an obstacle for them, that they'd have to readjust, is what I'm asking. So you don't believe that? Okay, all right, cool. Thank you. That's it, that's all I have.
And another question that I would have from that, are we not having our kids right?
Of course we're having them right.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying when you talked about, because I'm sure there are children who at home are not allowed to be on screens. So they would be less familiar with that. They would be more familiar with the writing aspect of it. So I feel like it's kind of and like you said, I appreciate the fact that you didn't want to make a recommendation until you spoke to the people who are actually doing it. I think that would be really important because, like I said, you could see both sides. Like there's kids that would do great on pencil and paper, and kids that, so you have to weigh what overall works best.
In an ideal world, kids would get to choose one or the other, instead of us saying you have to do it this way or you have to do it this way.
correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Palmer, but isn't this allow us to essentially do that? That we are telling the state that we intend to give paper tests, but anybody that were to request a digital test would then also be allowed to do that?
My understanding is that for you to get to take it on the computer, it would require an accommodation, which would be a 504 and IEP.
That's not what the link that you sent me just said you can, because it specifically said for a paper document, otherwise you had to have those, but it said for a digital test, you could optionally take a digital test. And it said that the district could, even with this resolution, could still offer digital tests as they so chose for students.
I would have to review that again. I've looked at that a couple times and I read it different. I could even reach out to my person at the state. Absolutely.
All right, I'll see. So I would ask that we do a poll
Okay.
for teacher. I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to ask you to do that or if Dr. Lupton has to ask you. But I would also do second grade because I agree with Mrs. Gregg. I spoke to several teachers at our church this past week who teach in Xenia. And they're like, paper, pencil, or just like what you said.
Yeah.
They said there are pros and cons, but they were like, it has to start. The practicing of the test has to start way before third, like in second grade, because,
Right.
if you wait till the beginning of third to practice the paper pencil test, I mean, I know from working with students. So I would be interested to see what teachers and the principals too, if you could poll the principals and the teachers, second and third grade teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what, I just read an interesting article last week. There was a professor at Cornell who made her students, she was like, they're on it was an interesting article. I don't know how the students at Cornell felt. It was just one class, but instead of using the computer, she made them type all their papers on typewriters. Because she said, why would I want to read a paper that you probably didn't even write? And here are the students typing on these old, anyway, that was kind of interesting because she was talking about screen time, way too much screen time, And then I think for Mr. Day, I think we just have to notify, okay, you said by May 1st, Mr. Day?
Yep.
Which, it would be nice, I feel like, for there to be a choice if teachers think, but the state probably wouldn't do that. To say, okay, a teacher would say, little Jimmy, I think would do better on the computer, but, that would be a nightmare probably, right?
That's what I went back and tried to find, and I didn't find where it read like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mr. Day found where it read like that, so I think we need to come to a consensus.
And the resolution also doesn't, at this moment in time, doesn't dictate that it's testing necessarily is by paper. It just notifies the state that we would like to have that as an option to do, correct?
That's correct.
Mr. Day, this would be for next spring.
Next
Your
school year, so the students have a full year of practicing and the abilities. This is not, it doesn't take place until next year. I have a few more.
No, yeah, go ahead. No.
I did poll probably a dozen teachers, a couple of principals, asking them how they felt, what their thoughts were, as well as a lot of research. But I just have, I'd like to read one message that one of the teachers sent me. She said, teacher said, as a teacher in her 31st year of teaching, I have seen the negative effects of screen time on our youth, especially over the past few years. With the advancement of technology and easier access to it, society relies heavily on it for daily use. Our children and our students need to be protected from its overuse. While I do think there is a time and a place for our students to use technology in the classroom, its overuse is allowing for deficits in areas of great importance. Because so many students have large amounts of screen time outside of the classroom, the time using technology and screens must be limited within our schools. Studies show that too much screen time for our youngest students leads to language delays, short attention spans, behavior problems, problem-solving delays, impulse and executive functioning problems, and so much more. Our students need to be kids. In order for their language to develop effectively, they must be talking amongst each other and problem solving together, not learning from an online platform. Studies show that screens are highly addictive. Students must be able to attend to a task for long periods of time without the highly addictive aspects of screens. Brain development in our youngest children is highly dependent on limited use of screens. Because of the overuse of technology, students struggle to pay attention in class. They struggle to persevere in challenging situations, which often leads to fine motor coordination has greatly declined, which is shown through handwriting tasks and fine motor tasks, and social skills are definitely lacking. Almost all diagnostic and state testing is done on a computer these days. Because these testing platforms are not as interactive and as fun as the things our children have access to at home, testing on the computer can be highly inaccurate. Students see no value in the test on the computer because it isn't fun and interactive. Students tend to rush through the tests, giving inaccurate data to teachers and staff, which can greatly affect our district outcomes and report cards. It would greatly benefit our youth if technology and screen time could be limited within the hours of the school day. We owe it to our students to equip them with the tools needed to be successful in life and in the classroom. There's a time and a place for screens, but overuse in the classroom is negatively affecting our youth. I think, that's just one of the many statements of many teachers that I talked to.
What teacher is that?
It was just one of our teachers. And shared it with me. I promise that you can request it, but there is.
Well, I'm asking because I'm trying to figure out what grade she teaches, he or she teaches.
This one was one of our second grade teachers.
Okay, so.
And then more research that I did, there was a 2013 study that showed that the electronic reading prevents people from navigating long text in an intuitive way. When we read, oftentimes you'll remember something because of where it is on the page or what was around it or things like that. And electronic reading on a computer does not allow for that same sort of mental connections and being able to remember it. So it makes it harder to remember the things that they've read. It's more of a memory than it is a knowledge at that point. They are remembering things rather than knowing things, which is counter to what we are trying to do in our school systems. Another interesting fact from this study is that the brain, as you read text, the brain goes through the motions of writing, even if your hands are empty. Your brain just has that motion, your hand motion, of what you would be doing, forming each of those letters, which is why it's so important that in the classroom, our kids are writing because it makes that mental connection, those fine motor skills. And then there was a Kaplan study in 2025 that in New York City schools that showed a direct decline in test scores when they were taken on computers versus paper. In 2024, they took their state tests on computers. In the following year, they took them on. They were taking them on paper in 2024. They took them on computers in 2025, and saw a statistically significant decrease in test scores from one year to the next. That same study showed that more screen time was directly linked to lower academic performance, worse behavior and emotional regulation in children under 10, reduces health, replaces critical real-world learning experiences, and hands-on learning and social interaction. And finally, one of the things that I think really grabbed my attention is a direct quote that was sent to me was that, let me find it real quick, let's see. asking a child to answer on paper with or without bubble designations when the child has been trained to only work on a computer adds more stress to the testing. Our grands have excelled on computer testing, but have not had emphasis in handwriting. I regret their legibility, but it is itself a learning process. It cannot be assumed that a child can suddenly be able, comfortable, legible to answer clearly on a paper test. If this doesn't epitomize the exact reason why we need to be doing more paper and pencil, then I don't know what does. The fact that our own community can't, doesn't think our students are capable of writing because we let them use computers too much is just the sad state of the world and of the educational environment that we need to be going back to that.
The 2025, sorry. I was just going to ask, the study you referred to from New York, was that Kaplan?
Kaplan, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Connor.
Thank you very much. I did have one question for you, Mr. Day. I know you had expressed frustration that your resolution wasn't added to the agenda, despite the fact that you made a request for it to be added to the agenda earlier this week. Could you just let me know what was your hope and intention for this resolution tonight? Were you wanting us to pass it this very night, or were you wanting to wait a little longer?
No, this resolution needs to be passed tonight so that we can
Okay.
we can notify the state before May 1st. This is our last meeting before that time, so it would need to be passed tonight.
The study that you're referring to, you're talking about a lot of screen time, and you're talking about someone who works on the screens. Are they talking about screen time in schools or screen times with cell phones and overall screen time? Because if your study is not directly related to the efficiency of computer use in schools, then would it not be more generic to the overall iPad and cell phone use, which is a completely different problem?
The study is, I said one, is directly on school usage, but the additional use in home or outside of school only compounds the effects. The studies are on that have a broad range or amount of screen time, whether it be computers, video games, iPads, TV, whatever it is, and the amount of hours per week that a child consumes, whether it's in school or outside of school. They have their studies that are just school-based. There are studies that are more comprehensive.
I think it's a cumulative effect, just
Yeah, it's like a
getting
lot of
bombarded
things.
with screen time.
Yeah, even us now, using screens. But I think that's the world we're moving into, and I think if we're still assessing in 4th grade, I would have loved to have had more time and get more information from what the teachers thought and maybe polled them as to, Mr. Ritchie was saying. First off, is there a cost effect here? Is there any additional cost to switching or delays into pen and paper?
It will be negligible.
Okay. So is there any operational issues that could come arise?
Just the ones that Mrs. Palmer delineated, but we're not, we're used to paper, pencil. We're pretty agile as an organization, so we can make it work.
Dr. Lofton, I'll ask you the same thing I did for Dr. Palmer. What would be your recommendation based upon what you know?
As a superintendent, knowing that the board and the community looks at test scores, and I hear a lot from our community about test scores and how our students are progressing. It gives me pause, knowing that we would be making a technical and operational shift in terms of how we test students. Everything that everyone has said so far, is accurate from a research standpoint, and it makes complete sense.
it just gives me pause that we've been, specifically at our elementary schools, been really successful on standardized tests. And to think that next year we're going to change the method by which we assess students and not having had enough time to get all our ducks in a row, it just gives me pause. It doesn't mean that we can't do it. Doesn't mean that it's not going to be successful. It just gives me pause that we've been really successful, particularly at our elementary schools on state assessments. And now, this time next year, we're going to change the methodology by which we assess. It just gives me pause. Doesn't mean that it can't work.
So I do want to note that my daughter's in kindergarten at Cox, right, I said before, and her handwriting is darn near better than mine on these letters. I swear, it's good, you know, and she's got her letters out and her alphabet's really, really good. I know she's writing a lot in our household, but she does it because she loves it. So I know they're doing it in kindergarten. As you said, they're doing it in the classroom. My final question would be to Mr. Day, level 1 through 10, what is your sense of urgency on this and what you feel it needs to be implemented?
I see no reason not, Dr. Long said not enough time to get the ducks in a row, but we have a year to get the ducks in the row. Like, there's not an immediate thing to this. It's a year of practice and testing. You know, the kids in kindergarten through second grade should be doing things on paper anyways, so I don't see that as an obstacle. And I think this is a good, necessary step for us to take and shows the initiative that we have of providing the best options and really looking at the research and doing what's best for our students.
So very urgent?
Yeah.
10?
And,
All right, cool.
and Mr. Superintendent, correct me if I'm wrong, for the sake of argument, worst case scenario, if we were to pass this resolution tonight and it completely falls apart, you know, say 4 months, 5 months, 6 months from now, there's nothing stopping the board from coming back and putting a halt to it, correct?
Again, that I'm not sure of. I want to say we could switch. I don't think that would be a problem, but again, we're dealing with people who, you know, make rules for a living and processes for a living. So I don't know if that's always the case. So we would have to consult ODU. Again, I'm not saying that it can't be done. It's just anything that happens and when you sit in my chair, that's a dramatic or a change in terms of how we've been doing business for several years, it just gives me pause. And you could probably pull 100 other superintendents and they would say the same thing. So I'm not saying that it can't be done. It's just that we haven't, to Mrs. Palmer's point, we haven't done on our end due diligence in terms of consulting with teachers and principals, because again, you know, I'm not in the classroom, I'm not doing the work with children each and every day. So we would have to, there would be some groundwork, some significant groundwork if you all passed it tonight that we would have to do to get ready. And we do have the time, but it just gives me pause that we have to ramp up pretty quickly.
Quick question. What are we currently, what was our last year third grade performance on these standardized testings?
It was above the state average.
Above state average? Okay.
So having said that, it's above state average. All of a sudden, again, this is just food for thought. You're going to have a change in how we assess. Being a researcher, you all know this, that when that happens, there's going to be some variance and it could be increases and there could be significant decreases. Who knows? So I just want the board to understand and the community to understand that when we have a sudden change like that, that this will be the first year. That data, there may be some significant changes in that data. So as long as the board is okay with potentially significant changes in data by switching, then I would say let's try it. But I think the board needs to understand from my chair that there could be significant changes when you shift like that. There could be. It might not. We just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm complexed. I feel it would be very tough to try and change from their perspective. I do feel that there's a necessity for less screen time. I almost wonder if there's a different resolution that would be more effective, requiring in-class less screen time, but starting with standardized testing is like starting at the top and then saying, go figure it out. I'm not sure if it would be irresponsible or hasty. I don't know. Anything from you, my coworker, Ms. Williams? Mrs. Williams? Oh.
Well, like I said, I'm just kind of, you know, like I said, I listened to what she said, I'm listening to what she said. There is no clear-cut thing. It is either we're willing to try it, or we're gonna stick with the norm. And we need to figure out, what do we think? I guess too, and you're talking about, I absolutely feel like we should implement. I do. I do. I have a 6-year-old grandson. I wish he had never had a tablet put in his hand. I'm constantly, you know, and it's a battle because everybody's doing it. And I feel like it is. I don't feel like you know, they're more, they just don't, I don't think when you read on a, I don't like, you're talking about we all have our laptop. I don't have a laptop. I don't have a tablet. I'm paper and pen, you know. So I am totally pro, you know, but I guess in you saying that there may be some test scores, how is that going to reflect to the community? If we see, how do you think that are you saying that you feel like test scores may suffer in the change, or you were talking about things it may report differently or something? Is it going to be something the community is going to be going, what are you doing?
Could I offer 2 thoughts? Would that be okay, Dr. Lofton? As we're sitting here talking and discussing this topic, I believe we're all on the same page. Nobody, I've never heard anybody say, I want my kid to have more technology. I want my kid to have more screen time. We're all in agreement on that. I've never heard a teacher in senior say that. We're all in agreement on that. We have a school that we're working on designating as a STEAM school. Project-based learning is huge in our district. We're each year more and more hands-on inquiry learning. And that naturally moves you away from computers. At my presentation in February, I shared our grade card. And on the grade card was a 3rd grade reading guarantee. And 2 years ago, we had 4 stars, but we dropped last year. And I reported to you the reason we dropped was because we shifted from NWEA MAP to Acadians. So while, like Dr. Lofton said, sometimes when you shift to a new test, there's a drop. And a lot of times there is. Just kids are getting used to a new way of testing. So, and there is going to be, you know, as you said, maybe the community is going to ask questions and whatnot. So that is something that, you know, you'll have to weigh, you know, the pros and cons of. There is a good chance testing will go down for a year. The other thought I had was, what I'm hearing is maybe the big picture isn't the testing and it's the computers. And out of the 180 days that kids are in school, or 177, whatever it is, you know, state testing maybe accounts for 2% of the screen time. I think maybe to Mr. Scott's, what you were starting to allude to, I think what maybe the big goal is to reduce screen time and to have some parameters in place to ensure that our students are doing as much inquiry-based learning, project-based learning, paper pencil learning, that they're in groups, that they're thinking critically. That's what I'm really hearing. And then maybe the paper pencil testing would come on the other end of it once those pieces are in place. Those are just a couple thoughts that I had as I'm listening to you guys.
And Mr. Day, you did, and Mr. Day, this was his idea, honestly, several months ago, or maybe a year ago. You know, he came to me to talk about reducing screen time, and talked to Mrs. Palmer as well. So we've made a concerted effort, particularly in our elementary schools, to reduce as much screen time as a result of, you know, some of the concern that you had. So to Mrs. Palmer's point, we continue to do that. So we're open. I just want the board to understand what, to your point, Mrs. Williams, what could happen. It may not, but as long as we are open to potentially looking at 1 year of data, and maybe when those test scores come in next summer, we could reconvene, know that we, had a year of, like a pilot year, so to speak, of looking at that data, and then, looking at maybe 5-year trend data, and having a more robust conversation about how we move forward. We're open to that as well. I just want the board to understand what could potentially happen with the data, knowing that we're going to make a significant shift in how we assess kids.
May I ask you 2 questions? Do you know why the state requires such an early deadline for next year, like if it's May 1st?
I do not.
It's just, and then let me get
The
this
state
straight.
being
Oh,
fun.
pardon?
It's just the state being
Oh,
fun.
I know. We love them. And so if we would vote to do paper pencil testing for 3rd, 4th is back on the Chromebook.
Yes, it is,
For sure.
for sure.
And then Mr. Cox, I just want to let you know, the reason Mr. Day's resolution did not get on the agenda is totally my fault, so I apologize to him. Yes. All right.
To your point, part of, and Tara and I talked in the, which I was gonna talk about later, but the Student Achievement Committee, and we have to get together and talk more details, but one of the things we talked about was coming up with a plan for what it looks like for percentages of technology used in the classroom for all our grade levels and things. And so, and we'll be doing that together, but then also with the Student Achievement Committee. So this all kind of goes hand in hand, that, I see it all happening together, an initiative that this district takes to, let's take the step forward and jump in and do what we think is best for the kid. We talk all the time about how we don't like the screen time and things like that, but, rarely do we have an opportunity that clear cut of, let's just do this, and let's take that step and do something that we know is right for our kids.
And don't forget about the field experiences that we're going to institute across our schools as a result of getting kids off of the screen time, getting them to places where they can experience, see, talk to, learn in different places outside of the classroom too. So, we definitely have made a concerted effort to do that.
World Fair,
World Fair, 250.
250.
I think the bigger picture here is, not as much the paper pencil testing, but the bigger picture is less screen time, more paper pencil, right? Or like Dr. Lofton said. Several years ago, the technology teacher, when the kids came back to school in Xenia, she asked, okay, what was your 2 favorite things of the summer? Almost every class, do you think it was bike riding and swimming and playing in the creek or whatever? Nope, it was playing games on the computer and watching movies. So it's just screen time is really detrimental to the state of a lot of our kids.
It's a big cultural issue.
Oh, I know.
I almost wonder, I've been to Warner, right? I've been in middle school, and there's been a massive effort. And even in Cox, I talked to, who was it? The robotics, the guy who runs the robotics team?
Mr. Carey.
Mr. Carey. I walk into their classroom, and we're openly advancing the robotics team, right? We're trying to push robotics and STEM and technology. Universities are moving towards STEM and technology because that, whether we disagree with it or not, I'm a historian. I love to write. I write in cursive as my main form of writing. I absolutely agree with Mr. Day, I think we're all here agreeing with each other, saying that screen time is a massive problem. I'm just uncertain that the start of it is 3rd grade testing. And how much impact would that really have on their screen time? And we already
I
have a
think we're saying
cultural issue.
this isn't the start of it, this is hand in hand with all of the other things that we're doing, but it has to be done now, otherwise it doesn't happen.
It has to be done right now,
By May 1st.
Yes.
this year. It couldn't happen by next year.
For next, yeah, they're a whole year
So-
ahead.
Next year.
The state of Ohio requires the resolution to be passed by a board by May 1st of this year for the state testing next year, this time next year to be paper pencil.
So the question is, if we do pass it, and then after your poll, like if you would poll the principals and maybe second and third grade teachers, we decide not to go that route, you think we can go back and,
I have to report it to the state, so as long as we do it before the end of the month,
before what?
the end of the month.
So now we would have to do a poll within 2 weeks.
Before the end of May.
And then we'd have to have, would we have to have an executive session for that?
Special.
Or a special session? Special meeting then to reconvene?
Well, I think,
Because we would have to, right, to go over the polling data? I just feel like maybe it should have been brought up in March. I'm not saying whatever, I know we're the position where we're in now. I'm just saying,
you're saying if we would
yeah.
vote tonight to pass it May 1st, but then we would have to know by May 31st
I'm saying if you vote tonight,
to renege.
you give me the ability to report it to the state, if that is what you have voted, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But we can't reverse it after May 1st?
That's a question that I don't
You
have
don't
the
know,
answer
yeah.
to.
Okay. And that's, I think, an issue, is we just don't know.
I know.
We're voting on no data. Is there another school that's already implemented this?
Marietta Schools has done it the past 4 years
Marietta's a pretty good school.
There are
by
several schools.
recommendation of their superintendent to do it, and their principals and staff.
But I think their success may be being, maybe look at different factors as well. I don't know. I guess I'm out.
Seems
I'm
kind
out.
of sudden.
It
I mean,
does.
not sudden,
I'm
but
out.
like, let's just like tonight.
Such a big deal. You know?
Like you said, could it be like a pilot program? Could we, put it out there as that that we're gonna see how this works? Like I said, it's not written in stone because it doesn't work. And like you said, you were very clear with us that it could affect, some of the
Thank
outcomes
you.
or something like that. But we're never going to know that.
I also like the pilot language.
Yeah, if we don't,
If it's accepted.
Yeah, but we would be experimenting on our own third graders. That's what that experiment is.
It has to be voted every year, and so this is not a you vote one time and it's always this way.
right, no, but I'm saying, if we don't, are we just gonna continuously sit back and say, what if? Maybe this is better, you never know. And I do know, I actually sent something to Josh when I knew he was gonna present this, and I forget where it was, but they had gone to like the Chromebooks and everything like that. It was another country or something. And they were literally at great expense to their school system going back to textbooks and pencil and paper. So I'm just saying we're never gonna know if we don't try it. We'll see what the outcome is.
And I'll be the first to admit, most of the research I found that it says, that the difference between the testing is often pretty flat, there's, between each one, but the just experience and ability of the kids is often felt better, less anxiety, those types of things by being on paper. But the actual results are often more negligible than significant for testing. For the overall class experience, there's large differences, but for testing itself, it's often.
Right, so your goal in doing this is to change the way the classroom is operating.
That's what we were talking about.
Right, yeah, so the goal is the classroom operations, not the testing
And
itself.
I think we have an answer.
I do have an answer, yes, to Ms. Williams' question. So once you approve the resolution and I submit it to the Department of Ed by May 1st, the district must use the paper pencil test for all students, except the exception only applies if a student's on an IEP or a 504. Then, of course, if it's written in there, then they can take computer.
But like Josh said, that's on a yearly basis. Like the next year, you could go back
It is yearly.
to that
That's
test.
correct. But what Dr. Lofton was saying would be a massive overhaul and groundwork, and then if we decide, all right, that experiment fails, because we effectively don't have the data we're pulling from our teachers at this time, and then would say, oh, well, that didn't work. Oh, that was, I'm not saying it's going to not work. I'm just saying, let's say it does. It doesn't work. Now we got to go back to Dr. Lofton and say, hey, give us above average test scores again. And now we've got to overhaul the whole thing.
We also
I would just
know-
say, every teacher that I talked to, not a single one of them said that they would rather do testing by computer than paper.
But do we have, can you send that?
I was me personally asking them, you know, I don't have a poll that I sent out.
We also wouldn't know by next May 1st, like if we have to make this decision again, we wouldn't have the scores back for next
Yeah, it
year.
could be 2 years.
I mean, I'm just
You still get the
throwing out all.
scores back that summer. It's not like
But we would
they
have
take
reported,
years,
is what
it
it's
just
saying.
takes a month rather than a day.
No, I'm just saying if there were a detrimental effect to the scores,
It would be
and we have to decide by May 1st, and we say, okay, let's do paper pencil again, but the scores come in low. I mean, I'm just trying to be devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I'm kind of torn too on, I mean, I love paper pencil. And you know, I would get rid of Chromebooks through like 8th grade if we could, if everything wasn't driven on, you know.
Why does the state, if you don't mind, does anybody have that answer? Why does the state mandate back to the computer testing by 4th grade?
I heard it was much quicker for them and easier for them to score.
Oh, so it's convenience for them.
Oh, they were paying big money for teachers to go up and to score all
And
those
I wonder
tests.
what company got that contract. Have to look at their donations.
Mr. Massey owned that company.
No, you better stop.
Just kidding. All right, no, just kidding.
Oh, there's the comedic relief.
Thank you, Jesse.
Yes.
All right. Oh, no. I'm good. So the only other option we would have is to take, if Dr. Palmer could do a poll soon,
Correct.
Within a week.
and then we could call an emergency meeting, which everybody hates, I know, before May 1st.
So could we table it to a special?
I mean, it would be a 10-minute meeting after we get some more data back. I don't know if that's, I mean, you guys can shoot that down, it's just an idea.
Is that, would we table this then to that special meeting?
Well, I don't know if that's even possible.
Could we even
to
hit
get-
that deadline, Ms. Palmer?
Yeah,
Dr. Palmer?
I mean, if you have a special meeting, yeah.
No, I'm talking about the polling for the
No, she
teachers.
said they'll answer it in 2 days.
Yeah, it's pretty quick to,
All right.
and then at least we would know, like, the troops in the classroom who are, you know, doing everyday work with how they really feel. I do know most teachers are for more paper pencil, just in general.
And that's me, I'm for that
Yes,
too.
yeah.
I'm absolutely for that too.
I'd be willing to do a special meeting just for that
And
topic.
it would be a quick, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
just look at the data and say, okay.
Yea or nay? Yeah.
I think that's a good course of action. It gives us
Okay.
time to get feedback.
I'll second that, Bill.
Oh,
Is that,
I was just gonna ask Joshua, what are your thoughts on that idea?
No, I mean, I think we could take the vote tonight with the caveat that, you know, it doesn't have to be sent until May 1st. And then, you know, if the polling were to come back and be, you know, that it's not what the teachers would want or whatever, we could then have a call a special meeting to, you know, we could always change the vote or vote to not send it.
but that would definitely influence my vote, I felt like. I mean, seeing what the principals and teachers feel about.
Yeah, but then we wouldn't have to come back. If they come back and say they're good. then
But I'm
we don't
saying
have
I
to
would,
come back.
if they're for it, I would probably vote differently when we come back. I mean, it may be different, I don't know, than how I would vote tonight. I see you're trying to prevent another meeting.
Because if we have another meeting, then all of us have to get paid for another meeting. Which comes from the taxpayer.
All right. Is it upon my suggestion? Do we,
I think if I'm digesting all of this, that what you could do is take you have a first and second on the floor,
Yes.
as is. It sounds like it's been suggested that the polling could be conducted and then results shared, and if the results call you to disagree, you could have a special meeting. Is that the flavor currently, or is it, no, we definitely want a special meeting, we don't want to vote at all?
I would say postpone the vote until we have the data, but I would rather be a consensus, or unless I have to make that decision.
It's your call, Mr. President. Is that right?
Okay. Mrs. Palmer, Dr. Palmer, what would be your timeline?
It's Mrs. Palmer.
Oh, yeah, Mrs. Palmer. I was thinking you had your doctorate.
I can send it out tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Have it back Friday or Monday.
Don't we schedule the meeting?
Early next week.
Yeah, we could do it. We can schedule the meeting now, Mr. President.
Okay.
You guys, if it's the will of the board.
I would feel more comfortable looking at what the teachers. Okay.
Can I say one
Yes,
thing?
please.
In asking the teachers, I guess this would be Mrs. Palmer, in asking the teachers, I would be interested in why they felt the way they did. Like if they said paper, just give a small comment about why you feel paper. Or if they said tablets, just a small comment about what they saw beneficial to tablets. Does
Yeah, that would be great.
make sense to, instead of just a paper?
How many teachers
tablet,
would we be polling?
Paper tablet.
You want all of second and all of third in your administrators, correct?
Right. So going through each comments, is there a more quantifiable way of asking opinions that we could look at more than just small comments? Such as ranges, feelings in favor, neutral, not, or less favorable, extremely unfavorable.
Like on a scale of 1 to 5.
Right. like
One
more
being you don't
quantifiable,
support it,
so
5
when we
being you're
come
very
in,
strongly
We're
supportive.
not going, well, this teacher said, oh, they love it, but this teacher said they didn't love it, right? I don't know, it's just like.
Let's make it more complicated.
Like, if we have comments, now we're diving into something else. The rabbit hole continues, right? If we have comments, then how do we weigh whose comment higher? I guess.
Well, it would be, you could be presenting something to me and it could just be your preference. I want to know how it affects them or what they think, how it will affect the kids. I'm not asking what they like better. I'm asking why they feel paper and pencil would be better. Just say, do you feel the children would handle it better, less stress, because I'm all about less stress for these kids.
I'll ensure that there's qualitative and quantitative data on the survey.
Thanks so much.
Say that again, please.
I'll ensure that there's qualitative and quantitative
Okay.
data on the survey. And to be fair, I'll also be asking not just about the third grade test, I'll be asking about the fourth grade test, because I believe a lot of administrators, there's a cascading effect with, if you're going to wait till fourth grade now for the first time they've seen the computer-based test. We just had 2 buildings get the Momentum Award, which is based on value added and growth. So that might be a concern for some of the principals, that it's just kicking it the can down the road, so to say. Maybe not. We'll find out.
So then, Tom, would we need a motion to table and set a date for
I think
next
you
week?
can, I think you can just leave it on the floor as is, and Mr. Ritchie can declare a meeting Monday the 20th at 6:30, whatever.
Yeah, I can meet Monday the 20th. What about, you guys check, yeah, you're good?
I'm good.
Mr. Dane, Mr. Scott, you good?
What's the date?
April 20th?
April
6:30.
6:30? We'll have it, and we'll send that data out prior to the meeting, so we'll have time to analyze it.
I appreciate Mr. Day bringing that to us. And I do think maybe we should look at a bigger picture too going forward about, I don't know what we can do to initiate less screen time in the classroom, but. All right. So we're going to move on to,
We can't just leave a motion on the table. It has to be tabled or,
Okay. You want to
postpone.
table it or postpone? I thought we could just leave it there, but if that is what you guys want to do, no problem.
open motion, so it has to be closed before you can move on to something else.
Okay. So a motion to table item B until Monday, April 20th. Can I get a first?
I'll first.
I'll second.
Thank you. So I have a first from Mr. Ritchie, a second from Mr. Cox. We'll do a roll call. Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
No.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to letter E about a change to the policy committee. And I'll let.
It's through all policies, or all committees.
All other committees, yes. And then we can, so we have to,
It's just to be on there as a discussion like the other first readings.
okay.
Can I
Right.
grab a copy?
All right, so I'll just say out loud, the intent for this policy is to eventually, if it comes to a vote, would be to strike everything from policy 0155, the policy on committees, that appears after the words executive session. It would then be replaced with the following language, quote, beginning in January 2027, each standing committee shall consist of no more than 2 board members appointed by the board president and other citizens. The citizen committee members shall be appointed individually and only by a majority vote of the full board and shall serve for 2-year terms. The citizen committee members appointed in 2026 prior to the adoption of this policy shall serve on their respective committees until December 2026. Each committee shall be convened by a chairperson who shall report on committee activities. Ad hoc committees may be created or dissolved at any time by a majority vote of the full board, and and members of ad hoc committees shall serve until the committee is discharged. No committee shall be created without the approval of the majority of the full board, end quote. I have previously expressed my concerns to the board about the process by which committee appointments were made this year. Prior to the new board even being sworn in, the superintendent had initiated the application process and filled committee seats without direction from the full board to do so. In my view, this approach risks limiting the board's ability to reflect the outcome of the most recent election and the expectations of the community that we serve. Last November, 7 candidates ran for school board, but only 3 were victorious. Contrary to what some apparent advocates of consolation prizes have suggested, close only counts in horseshoe contests and hand grenades. This board and its board committees are neither.
So we just talking about this thing, or we end up
First reading, no votes, just discussion.
Just discussion.
I have said my piece.
Now, the way we chose committees this year is the way we've chosen committees, as far as I know,
Every year.
every year. And it would have, this would have to go to the policy committee, of which Mr. Day and Mrs. Williams are on.
Not, the board can if we get a motion and a second, it can be a vote can be forced on, Mr. President.
In my opinion, and all of you have seen what I've written beforehand, operationally, it mirrors what the city does and how the city selects subcommittees, in which I've sat on a subcommittee for the city, and I had to apply, and then I had to get approved by the entire sitting council, right? So it's not anything. I'll divert a little bit from more of the harsher.
This doesn't do that yet.
Right.
It would need more language to do
Right.
that.
It would put us on that path, right? And so it would get us more resembling that. And I think that I don't see why more, because put in perspective, and since policy committee seems to be hot for everybody, for example, for policy, it goes through policy committee. I'm a sitting board member. I wouldn't see most things or have most opinion on anything until it comes to us, right? Now, as Ms. Marietta said, this is very true. The power is up to us. But for the process of how many people do we have sitting on one subcommittee? Each subcommittees? We
The
have
biggest one is student achievement. I think we have the 10, 14.
14, and that's quite a few people, right? And 19. I thought it was 20, but yeah. Yeah, so 19 people sit on that subcommittee. That's 19 voices of the community. That's 19 different opinions. That's 19 different ways of doing things, right? And so understanding at least the people that come across the board and sit on the subcommittees would be something that we could see. We could see who's sitting on these subcommittees. We could see if they're relevant. We could see if there's an issue or a conflict of interest. I'm not going to go into the current debacle or the jabs potentially, but I will say efficiently wise, I see why this would be so necessary, especially as a board. So, and I'll leave it at that.
I'll give just a little history real quick. So committee-wise, typically, it's been a struggle to get more than 3 or 4 people to come out to a committee. We have 19 people on my committee, but how many people, Mrs. Palmer, how many people came out to the Student Achievement Committee 3 weeks ago?
Like 15.
We had 15 out there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we had a good group, but that'll interchange. Some of them will come the next one, some of them won't come. And that one deserves to be a bit of a bigger committee because it's more of a thinking one than a decision type one, like a policy committee, where you're looking at the policies. But either way, we struggle to get people out to our committees, volunteers to come out. And so just kind of heavy-handed for not just taking people out of committees, I don't think is necessarily the right way to do it. I do like the way that the city does it. I think it would do a good job of maybe weeding out some of the people that aren't committed to actually going to the committee. People volunteer and other things come up. So if you had a process that they had to go through with an interview and such, it could have good results. Also, if you look at the city's committees, the people they have on them, they bring in people with diverse viewpoints for the fact of having people with diverse viewpoints, to get multiple opinions on how things are. They don't, I would say that the city council is largely, if not all, Republicans at this point, and so, their committees aren't, they bring in diverse viewpoints on all their committees, so that they can get the feeling of the whole community that they serve. So while I agree that, I think we could have a better policy on how we get people in, protect, our students, our other things, but doing it for the sake of restricting who's on our committees, I think is the wrong message.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I am absolutely 100%, nobody, you don't need a committee if everybody thinks the exact same. So I'm all about diversity. There isn't, and I would have no trouble sitting with anybody. I don't expect everybody to agree with me.
You said it in the policy, but we had interesting discussions, did we not, in the policy committee?
I loved it. It was very informative for me. I was comfortable. But like I said, I'm new at this, and but I do feel like, and it doesn't have anything to do, the process wouldn't have anything to do with diversity. It would have to do with intention. Are you really committed to this? Because that's what, and so that's my thing. I have no problem with diversity at all. And I don't have any problem with anybody in this community. I don't have any problem, I'm a busy woman.
And I specifically include the provision to allow the current committee members to serve out the rest of this year. So,
Mr. Scott, if I could ask you for the May meeting, could you bring a copy of the city policy?
Sure.
Committee? And I will check with, I will call.
I'm not the author of this.
No, I know that.
Okay.
Just so we could, and I will check with.
I appreciate you applied.
I would check with.
That is true, well, yeah.
I'll check with OSBA's legal department
Yeah.
and see what their views are. And Mr. Cox, I just have.
Actually, I have to submit a resume too, yeah, to the, what is it, what's her name? Michelle, but no, not Michelle, like, what is her title? It's like the words or something, I don't know. She does a fantastic job, but yeah, there's a whole resume process.
Yeah. And Mr. Cox, did this just come about because of your political differences with another committee member? Because you haven't mentioned this the last 2 years. I just wondered.
I have experienced over the last 2 years how the policy committee is used to stifle new ideas, Mr. President. We've had this conversation before.
And I say, like whatever you were saying, if the city does that, involving children, how much more should we be aware of who we're putting on committees then?
Correct, like we took everybody as a big blanket, but was there a background check or anything of that nature? Was there a resume? I mean, we want to be inclusive, and I think that's why we incorporate everybody. And I had discussions with him about it. And I think he has concerns too. A lot of these people were selected before me and you even sat on this board. So I do think, that's why I keep going back to the word efficiently. The efficiency of what the city does. There's a process. There's more of a process. So we can't accuse the president or the superintendent of being biased. Now it comes down to all of us. And so we choose these people, and then we have to answer to why we choose or not choose them to the public. It makes sense to me.
And I would say, like Josh, our committee was great. I mean, I love the discussion. I love the viewpoints of everybody. Of course, that's my thing. I like hearing, but I do feel like we're saying, if the city requires that for somebody to sit on the committee, like I said, it's not diversity, it's intention. Why do you want to be there?
Well, they also have limited slots too. So they have
Limited what? Oh, slots.
Slots, yeah. So they might only have 5 people on a committee. So that way, there's always a vote, majority vote.
Odd number.
So, yeah, an odd number.
The question I have is effective. I think,
Oh,
our city does it.
Amber, if you don't, I was going to address you at the end, real quick.
She has to go to the bathroom.
I know, I'm so sorry.
They're right there.
Oh my goodness, can you please send me the information on the cheer stuff, and I want to follow up with you. So, yeah, so there is, I thought it was extremely effective because they run their subcommittees just like the board here. And they also, it's volunteer, no one gets paid. So they're not losing any money on this.
And they have voting privileges.
They have voting privileges, and they have effect.
In that committee.
Yeah, in the subcommittee. So they actually have a real good effect on what happens. So to the point of who sits on these subcommittees, but actually, if we actually limited the number to 5 or 7, would actually have a voting piece to
So
what comes in
I
front of
mean,
the
the
board.
things they vote on still go to city council for approval.
Oh, okay.
They're-
Right.
It's not,
Yeah, they act as a,
That's what I was,
Basically an opinion poll.
yeah.
Right.
right, they have no direct, because they're not elected
Right.
officials,
That's
they
what I
act
wanted to
more
make
of
sure
a,
that we have here.
yeah.
yeah,
Fine.
but it's way more structured.
I guess, I don't want to cut the discussion short, but I guess my suggestion on this in general would be that, Dr. Lofton, that we have another policy committee meeting, because I think there's a couple other policies that we've been kicking around, like the public comment section we had talked about in previous times and things. That we just never got to because the one meeting, we were talking through all the Neola ones took us 2.5 hours. So, my suggestion would be that we take that, these few extra policies, talk about it in the policy committee and bring back, the language and idea. I mean, I would like to put in this, before I would ever approve this, I would want it, if we were to add more, I'd want it to look more like the cities. And, I think this has a lot of work to do to be that before I would
More
consider.
beefed up, you need it, more beefed.
Now, policy meets, I should know this, twice a year. But you can do, okay.
And I would just note, for this policy in particular, it appears to me that the policy committee would have, and any other committee would have a direct conflict of interest regarding this policy, because it directly impacts them.
It could be, but like you said, if it came down to it and you wanted to vote, the board could propose a vote as well. But I do think the policy committee would be open and to look, especially if we have the rules of the city and what they go by, like there's not, if it works, there's not really, much to argue against that in a sense. But I think it's worth looking at and discussing there. Yeah.
What a great discussion.
We've always considered, honestly, I've been doing this for 9 years, and I think to Mr. Davis' point, we always struggle with public participation, especially when it comes to a 2.5-hour time commitment on a Friday or a Tuesday. So again, we're excited. So if people want to participate and want to volunteer, help us move the school district forward and help our students, we're all in favor of it. Irrespective of your affiliated with this party or that, if people want to participate, we always have welcome people from diverse backgrounds, diverse opinions to participate and help our kids. We live in we have a school district that's really diverse in a lot of different ways.
And I told Dr. Lofton that the minutes from those 2 meetings, student achievement policy, which you're on both, right, were some of the best I've seen since I've been on the board, like great discussion, great points. Okay, so if you could not schedule the policy meeting until after we get,
Yes.
like after see what OSBA legal says, and we can all look at the city for the May meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right,
That's fine with me.
okay.
Yeah, it would probably be proactive, Jeremy, if you did draft something for the main meeting that would almost mirror the city. So that way, if you wanted to go on there.
I said I would look into it.
Yeah.
Maybe Jeremy can come to the policy meeting and to present it. I think the policy committee the members would appreciate if you're going to author a policy, hear from the author of the policy. I think they would appreciate, I would appreciate that. Because typically, we have questions, and there's conversations, and there's a synergy in the room from different opinions, and ultimately becomes a consensus because we begin to hear things that other people have to say and that we probably haven't thought about. So the only request I would have is for you to come to the policy committee to present the policy you're proposing.
Okay, any other discussion? Everyone good?
Good.
All right, yeah, that is good discussion tonight, Mr. God, I agree. All right, that's number 7 on the agenda, Dr. Lofton's update.
and this has already been talked about several times, but can't be talked about enough because it's such a wonderful achievement. Again, I want to congratulate Shawnee and McKinley Elementary Schools for receiving the Momentum Awards from the Department of Education and Workforce. So congratulations to the principals and the teachers and the parents and the students who all attend that school. So kudos to those two buildings. As of tonight, we have 17 staff members who are going to retire at the end of the school year. So next month, we'll have the official recognition ceremony, and that'll take place at 6 p.m. here, and we'll have a reception for them. So we definitely want to acknowledge our 17 retiring staff members, most of whom have spent their entire careers serving our school district and our students. Wonderland, our senior high school spring play begins this week with shows on April 16th, 17th, 18th, 23rd, 24th, and 25th at 7 p.m. at Xenia High School. The show is a contemporary spin on a classic tale. So again, our arts department with Mr. Matson and Mr. Lewis, they do a phenomenal job. So if you can attend our Xenia High School spring play, you'll be sure to be wowed by the performance. Nominations are open for staff awards through May 15th. You can find all the information on our website if you want to nominate a special educator for this award. A couple other things, we have enrollment for the 26-27 is now open along with our new Welcome Center. Also, I want to acknowledge our academic team, and they're going to DC to compete at the National Academic Team Competition next week, so kudos to our academic team at Xenia High School for their accomplishment.
What was the date that you were honoring the retirement?
So that'll be at our next month's board meeting.
In
We'll
May.
start in May. So we'll start
But it'll
at
be
6 p.m.
sorry.
Yeah, start at 6 p.m. No, you're fine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, go on to updates, announcements. Mrs. Williams, do you have any announcements? No? Mr. Cox?
Just a question, Mr. President. Last month, I had asked about the status of the goals the board was going to set forth for the superintendent.
I have those for you guys.
Fabulous.
A first reading, and you can look at it and give me for Dr. Lofton's evaluation.
Fabulous. Thank you.
I worked on this a long time today, because I'm like, oh, I have to have it. All right, and I'll pass those out to you guys. Go ahead, anything else?
That's all. Thank you.
Yeah. I just have, I really like the scholarship assembly is May 7th. I don't know if it's at 10 a.m., but that's nice to come to if you've never been to the scholarship. It's at Xenia High School. Graduation May 20th. And I would tell you, right before spring break, I went to the art show, thank you, at Shawnee, mainly because my granddaughter in first grade had some art that was the best there, I think. Just kidding. And it was just amazing to see what all the teachers and the elementary art teacher had done. It was great. And then for the, Mrs. Gregg, is it April 25th, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, she's got, yeah, it's April 25th. I will say the board, you guys, that we put, the basket we put together, $470. So no one else bid on it if you're going that night, because I'm gonna bid on it and.
$2.
$2. It's like a double loss for me, right? Because yes.
Is it a silent auction, or are we gonna hear it? Here.
I write it on.
Oh,
Yeah.
expect me to stand at that table.
Bid $5, Tyler, so get it. All right. And then last month, I mentioned this program that, actually I wrote the program, and we have a cast of like 85 people, and there'll be 3 presentations where we honor the armed forces. The Xenia High School Big Band is coming at 6:30 to do a pre-concert on America 250. And the program is about decisive moments in American history. So I brought you guys some advertising cards, and I have 2,000 more of these if you'd like to pass out to. But anyway, I'm a very patriotic person, and I just felt like America 250 was the time to do it, and I appreciate Mr. Day and Mr. Cox's resolution, that America 250. So anyway, that's all I have. Mr. Day.
Just a couple of things. One, the ex-rec, we had the annual Easter egg hunt, which was probably the biggest crowd we've had in a really long time. The weather was perfect, so that always means more people come out. But we had something like 12,000 eggs that we did. We had over like 120 baskets plus bikes that were raffled off to the kids, and hundreds and hundreds of kids. I don't even know how many. It was a lot, but it was a lot of fun. We had some of our students there volunteering with NHS and some of the other groups, student council or something. But they're out there volunteering, and they did a fantastic job. So that was awesome. It's always one of my favorite events. And then I was just going to comment on the Student Achievement Committee. It was really good. Had a lot of participation from community members and some good thoughts on visions forward for the district that Mrs. Palmer and her team are looking at and doing. So good stuff there.
Okay. All right, everybody. Glad to finish out here. So I have about 6 pages of notes. I'm just kidding. I saw some of your faces. No, I like to address, I want to thank Amber Jenkins, but she left. That's fantastic. We're going to have to check out a cheer competition since they're winning so much. So, and make sure we can find them better uniforms. Is that something we can look at, Dr. Lofton?
We definitely will. I do want to say, so that is some information gathering. We will definitely take a look into that. I do know that the Doug Adams Trust contributed about $5,000 on behalf of competition cheer to send them to the competition. And I know we just purchased a uniform a couple years ago, but if we could purchase a uniform, we can do that as well.
Yeah, I told her to reach out to me. I do want to know exactly what they're looking for in terms of funding. She was rather vague. I didn't get a chance to kind of converse, but it was like she wants more funding. Well, does $1,000 help? Does $10,000? Like, I just find out. We need to find out more, right?
As a former cheerleading advisor and cheerleading mom, it ain't cheap.
So it's never enough. All right. That sounds like. Sounds about right. Yeah. Okay. All right, we're going to find the number that's enough, and we're going to put that number on there. Anna, Russell, thank you for coming out. Gosh, we got to stop making this so late. We're losing half the crowd.
Past our bedtime.
I know, right?
Yeah, we persist.
Yes, and we have our favorite persisters. So she spoke in favor of issue 1, and I want to thank her for doing the work for the schools. Melanie Duckworth with AI. I put a note on there. I think AI is something we're going to look at. I think it's something that we need to address probably in the future. If we're going to go after limiting screen use, we would have to be on that same page with limiting AI, if not banning altogether. So just thought of mine. Mary Gregg, thank you for being here. The Hall of Honor. I know she does great work. And I loved her quote, "iPads and cell phones are cigarettes for kids." That actually comes straight out of Emotional Intelligence 2.0 by Simon Sinek. When I was in the Army, we learned that. It does release dopamine. So back to screen use, every time there's a notification, there's a dopamine. It's like, his analogy, would you open up your liquor cabinet for kids? So I think maybe even a public initiative program to get to the parents and say, less screen time, work on it with your kids at home. Jennifer Marietta, thank you for being here, and thank you for your time on the policy committee. And then I do have an announcement this evening that I haven't really messaged. I actually just messaged you. I have orders with the Air Force moving forward for 5 months. I will be gone from May 27th to mid-October. So I will not be there for June, July, August, September, or October's meeting. I ask that you do not try to remove me as a board member. That would be preferable, as they're trying to do in the North. However, these orders cannot be delayed, and they are something that came from the top. Well, not the top, but my unit's top. So I get outranked on that. But personal reasons, I'll not disclose publicly on where I'm going, what I'm doing. But I'll tell you guys personally, it's okay. So that's it. So you guys will have to adapt without me for 5. I know, Deb. I know. And if you guys see it through, Mr. President, if you want to host meetings on Sundays or Saturdays, I will drive or fly wherever I'm from,
Oh, my.
and I will come back to me. Anyway. So you already said no. I can see it in your eyes. But yeah, that's about it. That's that big thing. So expect 10 earth-shaking, life-changing resolutions in May. I already told him I wanted completely. I'm just kidding. No, we're going to do great things, and hopefully you won't miss me too much.
So you'll be at the May meeting and back for the November meeting?
Correct.
Okay.
As it currently stands.
Yeah.
So that is how that's going to operate. Other than that, I'm cool. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for your service.
Yeah, I'll get to celebrate the 250th in uniform.
I know, right?
So
Somewhere.
over the rainbow.
Texas? All right, adjournment?
I need a motion.
Oh, I make a motion to adjourn. I'll second.
All right, so a motion to adjourn, a first from Mr. Ritchie, a second from Mr. Cox. Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Thank you.
Say no, Wednesdays, the
Have all right.